Hey guys, this is my BMW X2 and today I'm going to change the oil in it and I'm going to use alternative oils and filters as opposed to BMW's branded stuff, and I'm going to do it myself and I'll show you what I did to change the oil. This here is Newlawn Apex 5W40 and it is BMW Long Life 01. It meets or exceeds these specifications. This here is a Ryco filter and it's a R2864P, and this filter here, and it comes with the O-rings and plugs, etc. And you also need some torx bits to be able to undo the likes of the bung or filter, and that's a T55. Now open up the bonnet. Here's the engine here. We can remove the oil cap, just rest it up here, leave it open. This helps or assists the oil draining out of the engine, doesn't, so there's no airlocks and things like that. Now you know there's no dipstick in this thing. There's an electronic one that you have to take for a drive and then use that electronic system to measure what your oil level is. Now I'm jacking up the car at the specified jacking point so that it's a bit easier to get underneath and get the oil filter out. There's a little flap underneath the engine which you can undo to get to the oil filter and the bung. So I'm just going to lift this up and chuck some axle stands under to make it a bit easier for myself. Now underneath the car there's a little flap here which you can turn these with a screwdriver to lift it down to get to the oil filter. Now never get under a car that is not supported properly. I've got it on axle stands and I've only lifted it on one side just for safety. I don't want it to fall down on me, but I don't really intend on climbing right under anyway. I'm just giving myself a bit more access to see. Here we go, it's very tight under here. We'll have a look under there. There's the filter up in there, up in here. And then the drain plug is here. Now the drain plug is 17mm, and you undo that, it's going to make a big mess and it's very tight under here. So I'm going to get some rags and some paper just so that any spills can get captured without going on my floor. I've taken that bung out and I quickly moved the bucket into place because there's very little room in there, and now it's draining. But before I did that, I actually put the oil cap back in just to try and make a bit of restriction, and now that the bucket's under there I'm going to take it off again and the flow will start to go really quickly. As you can see, the oil's coming out and it's going into the bucket. I'm going to wait till most of it's gone before I attempt to take the filter out, because I don't want a ton of oil pouring out on the floor when I undo the filter. But yeah, it's going into the bucket. Mostly clean and tidy at the moment, so I'm happy with that. Now in the oil kit we have a filter itself. We have a new bung for the filter assembly, which is done up by a T55 torx bit. Looks like that. We have a new sump plug washer and an O-ring for the filter housing, which I'll gently lubricate that with oil before putting it on. And yeah, there you have it. Now I've moved the bucket away and just replaced it with an ice cream container just to catch any further drips from the bung, and I'm going to go work on the filter now. I'm just undoing the filter. And getting ready with the bucket. Put the bung back in, and I'm going to move this ice cream container over to get the filter out, because I don't think the bucket's really going to work under there. So here's the bung out of the filter, and it's draining into the ice cream container. Clean it up, move it out. You've got to undo the filter housing with a large socket. Most people won't have that, but you might need to get that before you start. I'll tell you what size it is in a minute. And then you take the filter housing down, and be careful because the filter's in there. Looks a bit gross and it makes a bit mess. I'll chuck it in the bucket here, and then you can see the O-rings come out as well. Want to make sure we replace it with a new one before we put it in. I'm just going to let it drain in here for a bit. See, that's the hex you need to use to undo. .32mm is what you're wanting. Now the filter's in there. To get it out, just get something reasonably blunt. Just give it a wee tap like that. And we're going to hold this. There we go. Pops it through. And then the filter's out. The new one will push into place into there after we've cleaned it up. So I've given the new cap, the cap, a good clean inside and out. Let me get the new filter, and I'm going to gently push it down into the pocket in here. Clips in place, and we can put the clean bung, put a little bit of oil on the O-ring as well, and you'll see on this cap it actually tells you we want to torque it, so 25 Newton meters plus 5 Newton meters of torque to do up the cap. And there's 32mm for the spanner width to get that undone, and the T55 torx bit to do this bung up, of course. Now we go back in with the new filter. Up in there, but hard to see on this angle. It goes up in there. Got it started up in there. It's always a good idea, of course, to use a clean rag to clean the running area of the O-ring before you put it back up and in there. And I'm just gently doing it up by hand, so I know that there's no cross threading going on and it's going in nice and easily. And then I'll get the socket on there once it's home, so it's good now. Just need something to tighten it up. You can see there's no washer on there. I'm going to put the new washer on and tighten up that drain plug. New washer on, drain plug's ready to go back in. There we go. Now I just need to do it up with a 17mm spanner. Right, here we go. I'm just about to put some more oil into here. Gently pour it in. And I've done up the bottom bung and I've done up the filter. So it shouldn't be coming out the bottom, but it's always a good peace of mind to put some in and then have a look underneath. Make sure nothing's leaking. Pour a bit more in. Because imagine what would happen if you put the bung in or forgot to put the bung in and then started pouring oil in. There would be a huge mess. Right, there we have it, guys. I'm going to take it for a drive and check the levels and make sure that it's measuring okay, and I'll top it up if needed. Now remember, the old oil needs to be disposed of somewhere that can take waste oil. Don't go dumping it in landfill. There's places that take it. I'm going to take mine to somewhere where waste oil collection comes, and I'll get rid of it that way. There we go. Now the covers are back in place. The oil's in. There's no leaks. We're happy. All there is to do now is go for a bit of a burn. So just taking it for a drive to check the oil level, warm it up. It's supposed to be 30 minutes, so taking it for a hoon. drive, I'm just going to measure the engine oil level. Engine oil level was okay. You could probably do with a wee bit of a top up, so we'll go home and give it a wee bit more. But yeah, otherwise all good. Oil change successful. Now I did use my tool to reset the service interval, but that can be another video. Just rechecking the oil after topping it up, and hopefully the level is now at the right amount. What are we going to have? Perfect. There we go. All done. See you next time.